So, John, something's kind of scary happened this week.
What?
The 17-year-old daughter got a driver's license.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I thought it was going to take a little bit longer, but she finally went and did it.
Come on, you could have figured this out. I mean, she was born here. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, so Lower Michigan, if anybody that lives there, just, watch out. Watch out. We got another one on the road.
It's time to hit the trail, lock in those hubs, and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange, broadcasting from the Thin Line Off-Road Studio. They're here to talk about 4x4s, trucks, and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Buckle up. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
Welcome to Wheelin' Radio. This is Keith Codet of Thin Line Off-Road, and my co-host across from me here is Johnny Orange. How you doing today, John?
Not bad. What's going on, everybody?
Well, as we've developed this podcast and we have developed what we are going to be doing, we've talked, as you and I know, about doing a little bit of kind of a news section, at least when news is available.
Yes.
In the off-road world. And a couple things. We have a little bit of news about the podcast itself. To start off with that, we now have what's called a patron account through Podbean.
Okay.
And similar to, like Patreon, if you've ever heard of that, we have a patron account. And how that works is you go to the Podbean app, or you can go to podbean.com where you find Wheelin' Radio. And you can click on to be a supporter, a paid supporter of Wheelin' Radio. Now, Wheelin' Radio is still free, and it will continue to be free. But we've been, as you know, recording over the last 4 episodes. We've been doing what you named our End of the Trail. And so we're doing this End of the Trail bit where we're talking about how the show went, and it's kind of an after-show show. By becoming a supporter, a paid supporter via Podbean Patron, that'll give you access to that show. You can do that for as little as $1 a month.
Cool.
Now, there are higher levels where you can, get different things. Like you can get a decal, I think, at the $5 level. And then you go higher, and you can get a T-shirt, you can get a hoodie, things like that. So, our listeners, please consider going out to the podbean.com or to the Podbean app on your phone and becoming a patron today. Like I said, little as $1 a month, you get the End of the Trail show. So that's kind of our news. Unless, John, do you have any other news for the Wheelin' show right now?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
I like the addition of the news segment.
Yeah,
That's
so
nice.
Maybe we'll have to come up with a name for this eventually, trail news or something. I don't know, but we will have to come up with something. Okay, John, and another part of news today, we found out a little over a week ago that the famous off-road racer Rod Hall passed away.
Oh, man. It sucks to hear that.
Absolutely. Our condolences at Wheelin' Radio to his family. I personally never met Rod Hall. I don't think I ever did on any of the events out west that I went to, mainly because he was involved in more of the off-road racing aspect of things, and I've been more in like the rock crawling and the mudding and trail riding. But he is a huge name in off-road motorsports, and it would have been nice to dedicate an entire episode to him, and there's always a possibility of doing that in the future. But to really do that, we would have to have a deep knowledge of the race that essentially was his life, which is the Baja 1000.
I've always been fascinated by those races, that one in particular.
It's a fantastic endurance race. I mean, I myself as well, John. I can't imagine going for 1,000 miles through the desert, or I can't imagine, and I mean, it's just exciting sound.
Oh, yeah.
Running almost full speed in a trophy truck of some sort.
Yeah.
High compression shocks. Just bombing through the desert, trying, almost nonstop for 1,000 miles.
Yeah, I've seen how they build some of those things. That would just be great to build one of those trucks. Oh, man.
That would be really cool. But, back to Rod Hall. Rod Hall is the only racer to have completed every Baja 1000.
Impressive.
That is very impressive. And he has had a lot of ties, Baja, and then an association called NORA and a few other ones. I'm not really clear because, like I said, this isn't my forte, but I know that some of them had involvement with others, and some associations and organizations became other organizations. So I don't want to speak out of turn. I could do a ton of research and try to put together an episode for that. And like I said, that could be a future thing, doing some more reading and research. Really what would be best is if we reached out to a listener. If we have a listener out there that's just this avid NORA and Baja fan and knows the history of NORA and Baja, and especially Rod Hall's involvement, reach out to us. You could reach out to us through the Wheelin' page or 4x4 Talk, and maybe we can bring them on the air and they can talk, or even somebody from the Hall family if they would like to do that.
That would be awesome.
It really would be. But, a couple other things that he was involved in. He did something really cool that was called the Rod Hall Drive Experience. And that's where it was kind of like a school that you could go out to and you could learn how to race in an off-road setting.
They have schools for that?
They do. Well, have you heard of like the Bob
know that.
Bondurant schools where you can learn to like drive drag car or
I've heard
NASCARs?
I've heard of like the NASCAR stuff and race car stuff like that, but I didn't know they had off-road ones like that.
They do. Well, at least this is the only one that I know of.
Sweet.
Yeah, exactly. So he did that. So that's really, really neat, and introduced a lot of younger folks to the sport, to the hobby. So that's something that's really awesome. And then really what's close to my heart here, because of my involvement with the Museum of Off-Road Adventure in Clay Township, Michigan, is he is the founder of the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame, which in a way is a competing museum, but not really. The Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame is a somewhat rotating collection of trophy trucks and off-road race trucks and off-road race vehicles that's housed in Terrible's Casino in Reno, Nevada. And, so that's, I've never seen the collection. In fact, I didn't know it was in Reno the last time I was through Reno.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had thought it was a little further south than that. And I would like to see the collection someday.
That does sound pretty cool.
But, so he saw a need for this collection of vehicles. But on top of that, the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame inducted a lot of famous people in the off-road circles, journalists, racers, people that have improved and built upon the off-road hobby and off-road racing hobby. And they've inducted over the years a number of people. I think there's something like 90 inductees now that have been inducted to the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. That was actually a project that had been somewhat abandoned that Rod Hall took back over and made it into what it is today.
Wow.
So he wasn't the original creator of it, but he had came across the old paperwork from it and decided to revamp it, and then he turned it into what it is today.
That's awesome.
So, I don't really have a lot more on Rod Hall, but for the news section here, but we did want to mention that, once again, our condolences go out to the Hall family.
Absolutely.
He was a huge, huge figure in the Baja scene. It's not really what we do a lot with here at Wheelin', but we still love that kind of racing. We love watching it.
Absolutely.
Love hearing about it. I just can't talk specs. I don't know the racers' names. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was the one that really put together the events and built them into what they are today.
Oh, yeah.
And I think anyone that's ever heard of any sort of off-road racing or any sort of motorsports has heard of like the Baja 500 and the Baja 1000. Yeah. So
I love looking at a lot of the rigs, get inspiration for builds I'm working on. I know they do a lot of torture testing of parts on those races too. If it survives that, it's a good quality part.
Absolutely. Now, in his last few years, Rod Hall did have involvement with General Motors through Hummer, and they did some race H2s, and I think they did an H3 as well.
That's cool.
But to mention the the Bajas at least, those have been run by all sorts of different vehicles, not just four-wheel vehicles, but two-wheel vehicles, motorcycles. I think maybe four-wheelers, ATVs. Like I said, once again, I'm not really educated up on what they do with the Bajas, but that's going to be a bit of our subject today, which we're going to get to in a little bit after we take a break in a little bit. But we're going to talk about the Honda Motor Company. And now, Rod Hall did not have direct ties to Honda, at least not that I'm aware of. But there's a reason we're going to be doing that, and we'll mention that in a minute. But, Honda did a lot of off-road racing and does a lot of off-road racing as well.
Nice.
So, hand in hand, they don't really go, they're not, Rod Hall and Honda were not partners. But we're just kind of mentioning this, and that was part of our news. So, but that's our news section. Before we go to break, do you want to talk about our trivia winner?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. John, refresh us. For episode 10, what was the deal? What did they have to do?
If I remember correctly, that was the one you had to like the post, sign up to listen to us on Podbean, and then put your name in the comments, correct?
Correct. So,
Okay.
What John just said is very correct. What you had to do was like, comment, and then let us know what your username was on the post on the 4x4 Talk page.
Yes.
And the reason was that because we don't know, because unless you change your username on Podbean, it doesn't tell us who they are. So we needed to know physically who you are. We had two people that did this. Now, I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
It just means that many more people missed out.
So, since it's on the 4x4 Talk group, and this is public for everybody else out there to see, and because you saw him comment, we've got a Mr. Tony Villarda, who's actually one of our mods on the 4x4 Talk page.
Nice.
And we also have
Ryan Holmes.
Who is your
sister's boyfriend.
All right. And he's been listening to us since day one.
He has.
And he's part of the reason we're going to do a Honda episode, because he keeps asking us to do this.
Yep.
So we got the two of them. Now, so the deal was, what were they going to win, John? Do you remember all our trivia prizes that were in the box?
I don't off the top of my head, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
I know there was a shirt and a hoodie.
Okay, so
A sticker, I think.
yeah. So the first we were going to do decal in all of them. We had in the first trivia challenge, they were going to win a T-shirt. Second trivia challenge, they were going to win a $25 Thin Line Off-Road gift certificate. And the third trivia challenge, they were going to win a hoodie from Thin Line Off-Road. And like we said, up until this point, we were putting everything in a box, and whoever finally got one of our trivias or finally one of our prizes here would win everything in there. So that's the winner of this tonight is going to end up getting both of those.
Oh, cool.
Or all three of those items.
Nice.
And since we only have two people, I'm thinking a coin toss.
I'm okay with that.
Do you got a coin on you?
Maybe.
You don't.
Actually,
Or
I know
you do?
I have a couple lucky coins that I keep on me.
Oh, you got a lucky coin. All right.
I do.
Why are these coins lucky?
Well, one of them has a symbol on it that I recognize when a customer gave me in change at work accidentally.
Custer, the guy who...
Customer.
Oh, a customer. A customer.
Yeah. And she just said, that's always brought me good luck, so I hope it brings you good luck.
Okay, well, that's kind of cool. What is it up? That's a coin? Where did that go?
No, that's a dog tag. The other one was the same symbol on both sides.
Oh, I thought that was a... Okay.
No. Well, this is...
this is... You guys, we can all hear the ruffling.
This is my dog's tag. Sadly, he's no longer with us, but there's text on one side and blank on the other.
You want to
so
use
we
that?
have a heads and tails.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Okay.
So, John, why don't you call it then?
Okay.
So, for Tony, is he going to be heads or tails?
We'll go tails.
Okay, so T and T. Okay, so Tony, you're going to be tails, and Ryan, you're going to be heads. You want to do best 2 out of 3?
That sounds good to me.
All right, flip it here on the...
So I have a question, though, for you.
What's that?
Do we want to make him wait till after the commercial break?
Let's make them wait till after the commercial break.
Sorry,
like that.
guys, you gotta wait.
All right. Hey, it sounds like it's time to swap out that old engine for something better, John.
Yeah, man, but I have so much into my trans and transfer case setup already. I don't want to change those too.
Sounds like you need to call Quick Draw Brand Adapters. They specialize in conversion bell housings for nearly all diesel and gasoline engines, including the new 2.8R Cummins.
You know, I like weird engines up. I want something different.
Then you definitely need to visit QuickDrawBrand.com today. They have those hard-to-find parts. They also have used diesel engines available. You can call them at 513-446-9654.
Cool, I'll do that. See what they have. Thanks.
All right, and we're back. So I see you got that. You got the dog tag.
I do
in your
indeed.
hand. And so we said the tails is going to be Tony.
Yep.
And
The heads will be for Ryan Holmes.
Heads will be Ryan. So okay. So go ahead. Let's do. We're going to best 2 out of 3.
Let's see if I don't throw this off the table.
All right.
We got a tails.
All right. So we got 1 for Tony.
And a tails again.
All right. Well, so that's 2 out of 3 there. Tony, congratulations. You have won the box of items here. So you've won a t-shirt, a hoodie, and the $25 Thin Line Off-Road gift certificate. But tell you what, since Ryan, you were such a good sport and you gave us our topic today, since I'm the owner of Thin Line Off-Road, I'm allowed to do this. I'm going to give you your choice of a t-shirt or hoodie as well. So we'll get a hold of you, and you let us know which one you would like, and we're going to give you a Thin Line Off-Road t-shirt or hoodie. So you're going to both be winners today, but all our box prizes, Tony, you won them. Congratulations, Tony.
Congratulations.
Okay, that was fun.
Indeed.
Going on from that, just one last thing that we're going to talk about with the trivia here. We'll do a trivia question at the end of the episode, most likely, or maybe we'll put it in the middle. Who knows? But something we're going to change about our trivia, I think we're going to get rid of the box thing. It's just going to be, if it's not redeemed by the time the next episode uploads, it's going to be gone. So
That works.
or the prize will move over to the next week. So if we have something donated for the time being, then we'll do that. But just so you know, each week it'll just be an individual prize. So back to Honda. We wanted to talk a little bit about the Honda Motor Company and about their history. I
mow my lawn with one of those.
You mow your lawn with a Honda car or Honda motorcycle?
Well, neither. But
What? Yeah, well, that's one of the neat things about Honda is they have been involved in just about every type of small engine development since World War II. And they have made, as you know, generators, weed whackers.
Their generators are awesome. I will say that
really
they're
are.
super quiet.
They really are. And they've made all sorts of motorcycles, ATVs, cars, and trucks.
So we have one of their ATVs. That thing is a workhorse, man. It just keeps going and going. It's amazing.
What kind do you have?
Honda 400 Foreman.
Okay, about what year is that one?
Oh, late 90s, early 2000s, I think.
Okay, so yeah, you've got one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
I've got one of the older ones, and we're going to talk about those in a minute too as well. And I've loaned it, as you know, to the Mora, to the museum a couple of times. So going back with Honda, the reason we're doing this, Ryan Holmes, shout out to you again. You've been asking us to talk about Honda. Now, you know, we debated this for a while, John and I did. You know, are we going to talk just about Honda motorcycles, Honda ATVs? There's so much there that some of those deserve their own episode. So this is going to be not a highly technical episode. We're not going to be debating if the 1992 blah, blah, blah is better than the 1994 blah, blah, blah. That's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to kind of give you guys a general history of Honda a little bit and how they came to be what they are today. And we're going to hit on some of the high points of the Honda Motor Company as they are involved in the off-road world. Does that sound fair enough, John?
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to do. So the founder of Honda Motor Company was a gentleman named Soichiro. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Soichiro Honda. And he worked in garages and was involved in races. And he started just before World War II a small company building piston rings, originally with the idea of selling them to the Toyota Motor Corporation, which was already around. So Toyota is older than Honda. but they wanted to make piston rings, and they had a lot of problems, a lot of R&D developments in the early days. They were poor quality, they weren't very good. But Soichiro, Mr. Honda, he continued with his development and building upon what he had, and eventually made a pretty decent product to be able to sell to Toyota, and then of course eventually other motor companies, mainly in Japan at the time. But of course, World War II broke out, and that caused all sorts of issues with plants being destroyed, things like that, and it took a while for Honda to get back on their feet again. They weren't a big war producer like, say, Mitsubishi was. Mitsubishi built airplanes during World War II. Toyota built some military vehicles. Not a lot, but they built some.
Nice.
So, Honda was this fledgling company that probably could have been wiped out pretty easily, but they kept it going. And after the war, they started using war surplus, what was called Tohatsu engines. And there was little 50cc engines off of generators.
Nice.
To make essentially motorized bicycles or small motorcycles.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So, and Honda really started to keep, developing upon that. And then when those war surplus engines ran out, they copied that engine to then build their own version of it. And they kept building upon that. And then in 1949, they came out with the D-type motorcycle, which in the U.S. was known as the Honda Dream. Have you ever seen one of those, or have
I've probably seen them in passing. I've never been much into motorcycles personally.
Okay.
So I'm sure I've seen it, just never known what it was.
Yeah, they're highly collectible today. They made them for a long time. And by 1964, they were the largest manufacturer of motorcycles in the world.
Wow.
And they built all sorts of, basically small 50cc, 90cc, small moped-type motorcycles. So in the U.S., we had big motorcycles, the Harleys and the Indians.
Yeah, I've seen those. Those are nice.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Honda was selling these to the rest of the world. They were selling these small motorcycles. And in fact, what I don't know the model number, but I just heard about it the other day. The motorcycle that the Honda Dream eventually became, basically a little moped type vehicle. They continued to build that to this day. And they just went over, I believe, 1 billion units.
Good Lord.
Yeah, they've just built tons of these things.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's the most mass-produced vehicle of all time.
That's crazy.
It's a small Honda motorcycle. So
kind of want to find one.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, of course, Honda ended up developing some other things. As we talked earlier, they got into generator development, and they developed all sorts of different things. But they were really known for their motorcycles for a very long time.
So, I know a friend of mine has one. I think it's a Nighthawk, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's a street bike.
Yeah, he's got one. That thing's cool.
Yeah, they've done. They had the Honda Shadow. They had the Honda, like I said, the Nighthawk. They've had a number of different larger bikes now as well. But they also were known more for their motorcycles. They did the 360 size. They did smaller ones. And I'm not a huge smaller bike guy. So really, to do justice, we would need to get somebody on the show sometime that's really a big fan of those that can tell us more about them. So like I said, we're going to kind of hit on some points that they did. But, Honda stayed with that.
Nice.
Now, in the 1970s, however, the I almost used the wrong term there. The ATV, I almost said SUV. The ATV boom was starting. And the ATV boom started with snowmobiles, which Honda only got involved a little bit with, not too much at all. But the ATV boom originally were snowmobiles and then three-wheelers. Honda decided to start getting into the three-wheeler market.
I've ridden those. They're fun.
It's been years. How do you like riding one of those?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. My buddy had one, and we were messing around he lives on a dirt road. Kind of messing around the week before with a four-wheeler. Also, it was a Honda 300EX, I think. One of the race type bikes or quads. And we were doing donuts. I kind of rolled the tire up my leg and hurt myself pretty good.
That's not good.
No, it finally started to heal up 2 weeks later. So we went out. I took the three-wheeler this time, figuring I won't get myself into as much trouble. I did.
You did.
It was a fun ride until that happened.
Yeah, well,
it was different. It was really strange. Never having ridden anything three wheels before like that. It was different. It was very different.
yeah, and that was part of the issue. Is the three-wheelers, they became very popular. They came out originally, not Honda, but another company called Sperry Rand came out with the Tri-Cart in 1967. And Honda entered the market in 1969 with their three-wheelers. They were kind of one of the first ones. They immediately started putting them in movies and TV, so the people started to see them. They were in James Bond, Diamonds Are Forever, and Magnum PI, Heart to Heart, all these 80s and 70s movies. And this became a very popular thing. They actually called ATCs in the early days.
Yeah.
So you had these ATC three-wheelers, which is an all-terrain cycle. Now, it would be interesting maybe someday to do a whole three-wheeler episode, but basically three-wheelers by the mid-'80s started to get a pretty bad reputation for being unstable, tipping over.
Yeah, I noticed that too that day.
Yeah, like you found out.
Yeah. At least I had a helmet on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So eventually, that's something people think that they were banned in 1987. They weren't. The manufacturers of the three-wheelers decided that they were no longer, they went into an agreement for a 10-year agreement to cease production. Doesn't mean you couldn't buy one used. Doesn't mean you couldn't drive one. I know my parents back then were like, no, you're not getting a three-wheeler. They were against it.
That's how my parents are about motorcycles.
They still don't want you to motorcycle?
Nope.
Don't like the idea, huh?
No, I understand, and I'll respect that decision, at least while I'm at home still.
Have you ever ridden one?
I've ridden a dirt bike. That's the closest I've come to it, though.
Oh, okay.
But that was fun, and I've seen a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine have them. One of them has I think it is a Honda Shadow that he rides, and they go on all these cool-looking, motorcycle trips. And he's down in, one of the guys I know, the big motorcycle guys, he's down in Arizona right now. On something like a 6,000 or 11,000 mile trip or something he's doing. He's following Route 66 from start to finish.
Very cool.
So it's pretty cool.
I've done that.
I believe it.
That's a lot of fun.
I believe it.
There are some neat places to see along that route. And he's doing that on a bike.
Yes.
Yeah, not a dirt bike though.
Road bike. He's got a Harley road. I don't know the model, but he's just got another new Harley, and I think he's running that one on this trip.
Oh, okay. So. Oh, that makes sense. Going back to the motorcycles here, or I mean to the Honda here, they went through this period of time, and this was their first entry into the off-road market heavily. Because prior to that, they were building. They did build some dirt bikes. They were still kind of heavy machines for the time.
Yeah.
They eventually did build things called scramblers, which were in competition in the late 60s with some Triumph scramblers. And those were on off-road bikes. And those are an off-road thing to talk about as well. They were kind of a mix between a street bike and a dirt bike.
Isn't that one of what you had for a short time?
I did. I had a 72 450 scrambler, CL scrambler.
That thing looked cool too.
Yeah, those are cool bikes. They really are.
Yeah.
So, they were known for their dirt bikes. They were known for their motorcycles. They got into the three-wheelers. The three-wheelers, Honda pretty much made the majority of the three-wheelers out there. Yamaha and Suzuki and a few other manufacturers made them as well. But for the most part, Honda was the the big manufacturer of three-wheelers at the time. And today, Honda three-wheelers are getting to be very highly collectible. In fact, there's a Facebook page called Honda Hoarders, and these guys are always posting on there, about parts they found to restore theirs or great deals they found on one somewhere.
Nice.
There's some of them are, like the big reds are highly collectible. And there was just some oddball ones that guys are getting into.
Yeah.
There's a whole community of people, and you see a lot of them on that Honda Hoarders page that are all about these Honda three-wheelers.
Nice.
And like I said, they're restoring them now. And
Yeah.
even I always thought that wasn't even going to be possible because a lot of the plastics on them they scratch pretty easily, but apparently you can sand out and buff out scratches, and there's plastic welding techniques now. And
I've seen those machines. They're goofy looking.
yeah, it is, isn't it?
I'll stick to welding steel and aluminum. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just so much easier.
So the big turning point for Honda into the four-wheel drive market started in the mid-'80s. So Suzuki, one of their main competitors, in 1982 came out with what was called the Quad Runner L125. And this was the first what you would consider modern four-wheeler. Now, prior to that, Honda was building kind of an off-road go-kart. And I'm trying to remember what that thing was called. It just escapes me right now, but they were pretty cool. They had these little like off-road go-karts with soft suspensions in them.
That's cool.
But they were still pretty low ground clearance, and they weren't great for, say, dragging a deer out of the woods or anything like that. So Suzuki started building these two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, chain-driven quad runners, and Honda answered that in 85, early 86, with the Four-Trax TRX 250. And that was the first four-wheel drive four-wheeler.
Nice.
And you could get also in a 350. So I'm sorry, I misspoke there. The 250 was two-wheel drive. The 350, the Foreman 350, was the four-wheel drive.
Nice.
For 1986, you could get the first four-wheel drive four-wheeler. They had a small solid axle in the front, and that was in the Honda Foreman Four-Trax is today the largest mass-produced, or they've built the most four-wheelers of any other manufacturer.
I believe it. I've seen those things everywhere.
Most of them are red.
Yep.
Although in the early days they built blue ones. Now you get them in camo green. And,
Yeah.
So Honda, went into the market for the four-wheelers in '86, and that just rocketed. I remember that. I'm old. You're not old enough. I remember this, though.
No, it predates me by a couple of years.
Yeah, I remember all the guys up north, everybody was buying a Honda Four-Trax because now it went from something that you went really fast on the dunes with to something that you could really have some grunt with, and it was a workhorse.
Yeah.
You could go off into the woods. So they have continued to build upon that Four-Trax platform. And they've also done some other things as well, but they've continued to build on that to this day. Honda still is probably the number one producer of four-wheel drive four-wheelers.
I believe it.
Other companies such as Can-Am are now building higher speed ones, but Honda is still known for those durable machines that you can just beat the heck out of.
Yeah.
Now, I've got an 87 350 Four-Trax. It's the second year they came out.
Nice.
And that was purchased brand spanking new by my grandfather. We sometimes show it at the museum. It is pretty much, as you've seen it, darn near mint condition.
Yeah.
One of my prized possessions.
I never realized the history of that. That is cool.
Yeah, it is the first mass-produced four-wheel drive four-wheeler. It's the second year of it.
Yeah.
But now is where I want to introduce our trivia question.
Oh, okay. Surprise to me too, folks.
Okay. Second year of the Honda Four-Trax. They introduced something that you couldn't get the first year. Actually, they introduced two things. Now, the one thing, the easy one that you can easily Google, you can probably pull up on Wikipedia, is that for 87, the optional luggage racks were now standard. You could get the luggage racks front and rear. That's pretty well known. But there was one other option in 1987 that you could get on the Honda 4Tracks that you couldn't get in 1986. And so we need somebody to go with the answer. Where do you want them to go this time?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, that was the 4x4 Talk page that Ryan posted. 'Cause I know he was the first one to respond there, so how about we go to that page again?
Now go to 4x4 Talk?
Yeah, we'll go there.
Okay. So on 4x4 Talk, when this episode uploads, you need to tell us what the first what option for the 87 Honda 4Tracks four-wheeler, what could you get in 87 that you couldn't get in 86, and it's not the luggage rack. Because you could get the luggage racks optionally installed. This option was not available in 86. You could only get it starting in 87.
I had a couple good guesses on that, but we'll talk later.
Exactly. So, all right. So that's our trivia question. We've said we're going to throw these in different parts of the podcast.
I said it surprised me too.
There you go. So I think it was a good time to do that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, the four-wheeler that I have. So continuing on with that, Honda has built upon what they have done. They were the first to offer the electronic power steering in a four-wheeler. That was a huge, technological advancement. Now a lot of them are doing that. They're becoming a little bit, I don't want to say cushier, but they're more user-friendly.
Yeah.
They ship these things worldwide. Now, of course, there's still concerns. People don't say safety and this and that. We're not really getting into that.
No.
If you're going to go out and ride, though, and you're going to ride your Honda, whether it's your four-wheeler, your three-wheeler, or your motorcycle, wear a helmet.
Yeah. I had an incident with mine. We were kind of playing on a back oil pipeline trail. Thought it'd be a great idea to, hit the water puddle going full blast. So I did. But that little tiny stick, that little twig that off in the distance looked like a really tiny twig, was actually a really big branch.
Okay.
So the last second I threw my arm up to block it, my wheels hit the water. I flew 20 feet away from the four-wheeler. It rolled a few times, was floating upside down. And I was completely submerged. And when I got up, I realized I was about 4 inches away from a very large tree and my helmet.
Oof.
Had I not been wearing that helmet, we would probably not be having this conversation right now.
Knocked the helmet off your head?
No, the helmet stayed on.
Oh, okay.
But the puddle was maybe 8 inches deep. I'm a lot wider than that. I hit hard enough, I went into the mud next to the tree, about 4 inches away from the tree in my helmet.
Oof.
Yeah, I was completely submerged. My cousin who was riding with me didn't see me, so he freaked out. But we were able to flip it back over, turned it off, and just gave it a few minutes, let the fluid settle, was able to start it back up and get back home. But like I said, had I not had that helmet on, we'd probably not be having this conversation.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Wear helmets, folks.
Yes, and safety goggles.
And you can also take ATV safety courses. You can even take them online, get a license, and you read through
I
some
didn't
things.
know that.
Yeah, my son has one. In Michigan, you're required if you have if you don't have a driver's license.
Oh, I'm good.
And that you have to take an ATV safety course. You might have to even now. I'm not sure.
I never knew that.
But yeah, they have kind of like the boaters licenses. But
cool.
They have an ATV card that you can take.
Would have been good to know.
You probably don't have one of those.
I have a boater safety card.
Oh, boaters, not ATV card.
Oh, no. I didn't even know they had it until about 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, exactly. I think this might be a good point for our second break.
Sounds good.
When we come back, we can talk about some of the other things that Honda's been involved in.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
All right.
Have you heard the good news? Now there's a local paper that people just can't seem to get enough of. It's the Thumbprint News. The Thumbprint News is free and full of interesting stories that focus on what's important in our lives. Stories that touch on this area's rich history, unique places, and the diverse cultures and people. You'll be in the know when you read the Thumbprint News. Go to thumbprintnews.com and read the paper online for free today.
Welcome back to Wheeling. I'm Johnny Orange.
And I'm Keith. We were talking about Hondas, and we're trying to jam a lot in here, but at the same point, like you said, we're not trying to get too technical. Honda's such a massive motor company that has their hands in so many different things that you really can't do justice to all of the Honda products in an hour show.
No. I mean, I didn't realize Honda makes the Asimo robot.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I've heard of that. That is
that thing's cool, man.
It's one of the most advanced AI robots that there are. So
next thing you tell me, Honda makes planes or something like that too.
well, they do make planes, John.
But I was kidding.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes, they make planes.
Wow.
They make all sorts of things.
Huh.
You know, but of course, being 4x4 guys, we got to talk about what's Honda done for the 4x4 world. Unfortunately, they make some awesome 4-wheel drive ATVs. In the full size market, they have yet to come around. So their first truck, quote unquote truck here, was the Honda Ridgeline.
Friend of mine has one of those.
You know, they're not a bad looking truck. They kind of look like a
it's very rounded.
Yeah, they kind of look like a Japanese copy of a what are those ones, the Chevys that are like a Suburban with the backs cut off?
Oh.
Avalanche.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of look like the Chevy Avalanche.
Oh, wow. I never realized that.
But they don't have a low-range transfer case.
Huh.
So they're only high four-wheel, like all-wheel drive.
That's like the mall crawl four-wheel.
Yeah, that disappointed a lot of buyers when they did that. Probably their most capable off-roading vehicle that's not really used very often by hardcore off-roaders, but maybe by some people who do some occasional two-tracking is the Honda CR-V.
I've seen those.
The CR-V came out, I believe, in 95. I could double check that, or you can if you'd like, but I believe it was 1995. I don't have it in front of me or anything here. And the Honda CR-V is, in size kind of like about the same as like a Ford Escape, and it's compact, great fuel mileage, and people are fans of it. They take it all over the place. It's a great little vehicle to throw some kayaks on the roof and some camping gear in the back of it and to go somewhere. It's not a hardcore off-roader.
Yeah.
I don't think there's like big lift kits and stuff available for it. I've never seen one rock crawling before or on any sort of serious off-road trip. But the Honda CR-V is respectable in its own way as a small kind of crossover type SUV.
Looks like the first generation of this was 1995.
Yeah, 1995. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And and they have a great reputation for lasting a couple 100,000 miles. They're kind of Honda's version of the Jeep Cherokee. They're just durable, and they just keep going and going and going. So you got to give Honda credit for that. Personally, I would love to see Honda come to the market. I mean, they're already in so many other things, but they excel in the small engines. So I don't know, a big V8 powered, big vehicle, would they excel at that? I don't know.
I will say this, some of what these companies have been doing the last few years with the 4 cylinders and twin turbos, it might be impressive to see what they could do with a small engine and that type of a build.
Yeah, like
something different.
Something maybe Jeep Wrangler size.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting because as we know, at least coming out of Japan, the largest rugged 4x4 company is Toyota, and then Isuzu doesn't import to North America anymore regular vehicles, but there's a number of different ones that do. Suzuki makes some great little vehicles, but Honda, it's a question: should they stay with what they know, which is the smaller stuff, or should they build a bigger vehicle?
I think there's something to be said for trying to expand. And if you have what you're doing good at and you can maintain it, reach out. See what else you can do.
They made 1 billion motorcycles.
Yeah.
Of the same model.
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Maybe their next one will be that version of the 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, it could be. They could make something that's going to go right in. We've talked before about the electric.
Oh, yeah.
Honda's had some pretty good, they've done some with their electric cars. They've had some pretty good success. So
yeah, all those people get the best parking spaces.
Yeah, they do. Maybe they'll come up with an electric 4-wheel drive vehicle.
That would be interesting.
So that'd be interesting what Honda would do. We've talked a lot about Honda here, and without really getting too specific into models. That's what we were just trying to, give you an idea of where Honda fits in the off-road world. Personally, when I think of Honda and off-roading, I think of the four-wheelers. Mm-hmm. The ATVs, the ride-on ATVs. I also think of the motorcycles and the dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And so Honda has given quite a bit to the off-road industry through those. Mm-hmm. And we thank them for that.
Absolutely.
Ryan, I hope we did enough Honda information for this episode for you. If there's a certain model that you or anybody else in the future that's listening to this would like to hear, if you say, wait a minute, this particular model or this line of Honda vehicles really had an interesting history and you've got a lot more information on it, reach out to us.
Absolutely.
We always like it when people reach out to us. We've said it before, the 4x4 Talk page. Mm-hmm. Great place to do it. Where else can they reach out to us, John?
What is it? We're on Facebook, Twitter.
Yep, Facebook, Twitter.
Did we do Instagram yet?
Not yet.
We're working on that one.
We need to do that, yeah. That's more for pictures, and we don't have a lot of stuff for pictures, but yeah, that's true. That's true.
I've got a build I'm going to be starting up again pretty soon, so I'll maybe start uploading some stuff for that.
I want to see those on the 4x4 Talk.
I will do it.
And, of course, we get the Instagram maybe on there, too. But
Maybe, yeah.
But, yeah, definitely some pictures on 4x4 Talk.
Oh,
yeah. So we wanted to talk about a few other things as we're wrapping this up today. We have our Wheels in the Woods show for those of you who live in Michigan or will be in Michigan in September, specifically around September 28th. The Wheels in the Woods show, John and I are going to be at. That is through the Museum of Off-Road Adventure, which we are both involved in. Wheelin' is not run by the museum, but we are tied with them because we're involved. Our producer Andrew is involved as well.
Hi, Andrew.
Yeah, hi, Andrew. Yeah. He was waving back. So if you have a great four-wheel drive vehicle, even just a regular four-wheel drive vehicle, a muddy old Jeep, whatever, bring it out to Wheels in the Woods. We're going to have a lot of different classes like we did last year. We had a lot of fun last year, September 28th, and that's in Clay Township, Michigan.
I'll be there. I'm going to have at least one, hopefully 2 vehicles out there this year.
Perfect. And they can where can they find more information about Wheels in the Woods?
On the Mora page. What is it? I'm trying to remember the web address.
Well, the web address is
themora.org.
Yeah, themora.org.
Yeah. And again, we also have information on the Facebook page too,
which is Museum of Off-Road Adventure.
Yes.
So look up that, check that out. And John, what else did you want to talk about today? Well, we do need to mention the Patreon account again. I know we brought that up. So, come out and check out the Patreon account through Podbean. We're trying to build this podcast into something. Of course, there are expenses to do this. We have monthly fees for our services that we have to upload to. We have equipment fees. Any little bit that you can do helps. $1 a month, you get to listen to our end of the show, or what do you call it? The end of the trail?
Yeah, end of the trail.
End of the trail. The end of the trail show. A little bit more than that, you can kind of get some swag that we'll mail out to you. So
I'm going to check it out when I get home tonight.
Exactly. Well, thank you. Yeah, you need to sign up for the $800 level.
I don't know if I can swing that.
Oh, okay. I don't think there is an $800 level.
Can I charge it to my business account?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're going to use the Wheelin' business card. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just going to circle back on us.
Yeah, exactly.
The snake that eats its own tail. Okay, great, John. It's been an interesting episode. We talked about Rod Hall. We talked about Honda, and like I said, hopefully we did everything we needed to do for this. And I think is there anything else you want to mention today, John?
Not that I can think of.
Why don't you sign us off?
Thanks for listening, everybody, and have a good one.